Hey, what's up, Soul Family, and welcome to this Saturday night Soul Session live with me, Reverend LC. Man, I just love saying that because I was started noticing that I wasn't giving myself enough credit for accomplishing one of my dreams, which is to become an ordained minister. And if it wouldn't have been for two friends of mine, Curtis and Danny, I would not have been inspired to just take that forward. And so many people built me up to that. I mean, there's just it's just amazing. So if you wonder why I've been saying that, that is why, because I want to celebrate my wins, because the more I celebrate my wins, then I'm not sitting in the puddle of my losses. You feel like failure is the only key to success, and so I'm winning. I'm Reverend Lona LC Currie, and I'm grateful to be here with you tonight. If you're watching this and you want to have a little inspiration and information and motivation tonight, then go ahead and get in on this live stream. Share it out, share it with your friends and your groups. We're live on Facebook and YouTube, and I'm awesomely blessed to be here. So I started this over what I've learned this week. I was making my what I've learned this week list, and it has been one of a really huge, challenging, like externally, relationship, familial, everything. Like it's a pure growth opportunity, but it has been, you know, a lot of external things that have been teaching me a lot about what is in my control and what is not. And the question kept coming up in my spirit as I went through this week is, can you grow where you're planted? Everything makes us want to run away. And if whether you're in recovery, new recovery, got some time in recovery, whether you're in a rediscovery process of just, like Martin John says, you're just recovering yourself, you're learning about who you are, and you're just expanding to the best possible version of you, then you know this is where you start to really take a hard look at the circumstances and that what life keeps coming with. And so this week gave me an amazing opportunity to grow. And as I was growing, I'm always inspired to bring that to you. So hopefully you can grab something in there that can help you grow or that you can make personal to you. And if not, just get inspired and motivated and, just start from wherever you are. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight is, can you grow where you are planted? Can you get to a place where you master your choices, what's truly within your control? So that's what we're going to talk about. I'm ready to get into it, but I got to do a little bit first. I don't got to, I get to. See, I'm working on it. I'm working on it. All right. For my fashion statement tonight, I am wearing the high as AF, but doing it clean merchandise shout out by my good friend Eric McCoy. He is the High While Clean podcast host, and he was a co-host with me with In Walk a Mile in My Shoes. Now you can find both of those shows in their entirety on his website, and that's highwhileclean.org. Give him a shout out, tell him LC sent you, and you can get all of his merch there too. He's an amazing human being. He's my friend, and I appreciate him. Also, while you're on Amazon doing your shopping this week, don't forget to pick up a copy of this amazing book by this amazing human being, Miss Pamela Topjian. I didn't come this far to only come this far is an inspiring true life story of a woman who has defied the odds. She's done just what we are talking about tonight. She's grown where she was planted until she's able to move. And so if you want to get further into this message, then pick up your copy of that book right there. It is actually on Amazon, and the best way to get it is to go to the search bar and type in Pamela Topjian. Make sure that you get it. All right, last question before we get started. Have you downloaded your Sober app? And if not, why not? What you waiting on? You've got the Mind Valley of Conscious Recovery content groups, just support that surrounds you in your recovery and rediscovery journey. A lot of people in their rediscovery are going to a sober lifestyle not because they were, involved in addiction, but because they're trying to become their highest and best self. And I think that there's so much in the sober app that can help you on that path as well. So, don't let, anything hold you back from doing what's best for you. You can go and get that in your Apple App Store, your Google Play Store, and, get it for under 20 bucks. For under 20 bucks, you can surround yourself with inspiration, information, and motivation just with Pamela Topchian's book and getting the sober app. You're already on your way. All right. If you all are ready to get into this Saturday night soul session live with just me, Reverend LC, then you know I'm ready. So let's go. Hey, 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 and welcome back to this Saturday night soul session. You know what happens whenever you don't get fully prepared is you hit wrong buttons. But you know what? That's the greatest part of what I get to do. Like I had to start reminding myself that when I hit the wrong buttons and go back and correct it, that I'm actually living my passion. Like I'm living my dream. I get to do this. So I get to have this whole live experience. I get to push the wrong button and I get to have a moment of gratitude. Now, I don't always make that choice. I don't always acknowledge in my life and circumstances that I have a choice. But over the things that I've been going through over these about the past month, where a lot of things that are close to me as the cycles in life happen, a lot of areas that we need to heal will start popping off in our external life. And if you have a lot of healing that you not necessarily need to do but can do around your family, then you'll have family stuff just pop off everywhere. If it's around money and if it's around all of that, then you'll have a nice, conglomeration. You'll have a nice, gumbo. I'm from the South, and we like to say everything mixed together is a gumbo. And so that's what life throws us, and it gives us the opportunity, when we are living a conscious recovery and rediscovery lifestyle, it gives us this opportunity to do some, and I hate using the word work, but I guess I like discovery. I think Pamela uses the word discovery sometimes. And, we're in this process of discovering that human being, not necessarily working towards it, but just discovering and rediscovering that human being within us. But when we're in the midst of it, you know, one thing that was vital for me to learn today, and we're going to dive into it a little more, in just a little while, but was that comparing your process of whatever it is to someone else's process. And let's just face it, if we're on social media, that is the finest line, that you can ever walk, because it can happen so quickly. And, when we compare ourselves, it makes us sometimes look like we're either standing still or we're not, you know, progressing at all. And we're getting left behind. And that's why I wanted to include, like my fellow content creators in this, because it really doesn't matter which one of your processes you're in, whether it's recovery, personal growth, or like the pursuit of a dream, a passion. Sometimes we can do a whole lot of work in something and look around and think we're not moving anywhere. And sometimes we can even go backwards. And it really is a moment to test your faith muscle. And it's a set of moments to be able to really do some solid work on yourself. And if you're not really used to diving into that stuff, like I would really truly suggest that you have somebody like, professional you're working with, whether it's a mentor or a coach, whether it's a psychiatrist, a therapist, a hypnotherapist, or all of those things. This is an and then kind of, solution base, is that all of those things, 12-step therapy, everything, you know, you have to surround yourself with to build a whole healthy life. And I just suggest that if you're new to any type of trauma work or any type of deeper healing work, and you're new to recovery, make sure that you have somebody there with you that can help you walk through. Because I bring that up because at the beginning of the week, I had this idea to really do like a deep dive session within my life where I just sit down and think over in as much detail as I can how far I've truly come. Like, and I was thinking about going way back to my earliest memories and just seeing my life and how it's played out. And I had this inkling to ask my therapist if that was a good idea for me to do. And she had some really great advice for me. And we decided that we would do that together. Because to go all the way back, you're going to have to visit some things that are probably still going to have some sting to them. If not, some debilitating backlash from it. And so it's so good to just work with somebody professionally. And that's kind of like the disclaimer of all of this, is please do that and don't be ashamed to do that. But all right. Um, so I started doing some posts this week, and I have them written down because that was how my week was going. I've got my healing surrounds family, and I work in a family business. I live kind of on a family, compound, if you will. Um, I've got a son, who's 22 and lives across the country from me. So it's like a lot of my um, fears, a lot of my unhealed trauma, or different levels of healing for some trauma, is kind of brought up on a daily basis. And these last few weeks, it's been like really intensified. And if we notice, it gets like that when it's trying to get your attention. And so it's just been a whole lot. And I have been able to, in this week, start getting some different levels of healing, and going through some different emotions that, I had not experienced yet in these situations. But I did also experience that frustration, which is precisely what brings us here tonight, is because I experienced that frustration because we have a tendency to think in the I'll be happy when scenario. And we think, well, for me personally, when I am able to just live in my passion, all the time, and just be able to give myself fully to try to help other people, through my experience and the things that I've learned, because I shouldn't be sitting here. To me, it's a miracle. I acknowledge it as a miracle, and I'm sure you do in your life as well. And if you don't, I hope that you get to a place where you do realize you're a miracle. But I don't always get there, right away. I don't always get to a place where I'm handling things just right. And so what I thought about doing for tonight is just reading those quotes. And if you missed them on Instagram, they're still there, but just reading those quotes and just kind of talking a little bit about that opportunity, or the choice that I got to make, because really that's the only true freedom we have, if you really think about it, is the freedom to make a choice in every moment, even when we tell ourselves, or we absolutely feel like we have no choice. Our only true freedom in life is our ability to make a choice. And so I wrote these quotes, in what I was going through and trying to make a different choice. So I'm going to share them and we're going to talk about them. All right, I think the first one was I can't shoulder the burden of someone else's bad attitude, but how I react is completely up to me. And my question for that when I was going through it this week was, what is my work slash discovery to do in this situation? Like if I'm frustrated with another person, especially family is like boot camp for inner healing and expansion. And I surround myself in it. I'm trying to get this, man. Trying to get it. Not that it leaves, it just goes to a different level. The struggle is not here. So, what is my work to do in this situation? As I'm finding myself in intense, focus on the opposite person than me, then I am completely focused on what I feel they should do to make this situation better. And I'm missing a valid lesson about what is it that I should do here. Or not even should, I hate the word should, but what is it that I can do here different to make a new choice about my experience? Because our experience tomorrow is the direct result of our thoughts, words, and belief systems of today. So if we want to change tomorrow, then we got to start doing it today. And, asking that question brought me back out of off of focus of them, because it's not that it's stuff that doesn't hasn't been going on, for a while. Those patterns in your life, those things that just keep repeating. So this has been in my reality for this amount of time, and no amount of trying to externally change that has helped one bit. And I learned this when I was working with my coach, Amy Guerrero. She's at Regulate with Amy on Instagram. When I was working with her, I learned this in letting my wife's energy go while she was being over medicated and was just separate from our family. And it was so tough. And I finally took my energy off of her and I started healing myself around it. And so I think that we are offered these opportunities where we can make a choice to react in that old way. And a lot of times we will anyway. Sometimes we just can't catch it. It's got too much momentum. And then we're just left with more choices to make. How do I react to my reaction? How do I, now what do I do? Who am I here? What can I guess the longer it takes us to get it, the more questions we got to answer or problems necessarily we got to solve or heal. But, taking that energy off of that external situation, that external person, and putting it back on me, and really learning about, why does this make me feel this way? Why does what is my attachment to this either outcome, person, or this statement, or this way that I think they've hurt me? What is my attachment to that? And then start from there. And so I got to do a lot of that this week, a lot. And I was grateful to be able to have the choice, the freedom to make the choice. Because there was a time in my life that I was going to be in that negative space, not, just going through it in suffering instead of, doing anything else. I thought that was the only choice I had. So to know that I have that freedom is amazing to me. And I've come a long way, and I bet you have too. So, you know, I hope that resonates in some kind of way with you in your life. I find that collectively, we all kind of sometimes have at a lot of the same times these big things start coming up. Or maybe you live in a life that, is just full of chaos, and that just seems super normal to you. But when you get to that place where you realize that this is hurting me more than it is helping me, you know it's time to make a change, because the longer you ride that out, then the tougher the lessons are going to become, and they're going to be. And so, all right, the second quote I put up, so this is going to let you know, like, kind of the progress, the process that I was moving through. So the second quote I put up said, "Trauma changes us at our core. It affects every area of our lives. Though we cannot, uh-oh, who can't read their own writing? Though we cannot change what we've been through, we can define who it makes us. And that's what I started learning. That's what I started learning about this week through all of these different circumstances, is that I've experienced trauma, the attachment that I have to all these people and all these things that are really, working on me at this moment. My attachment was the trauma that I that 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 I had, that I'm attached to, surrounding that person, that situation. And it's always so complex. It's never just one thing. It's nice how emotions have names, but I think we kind of should be able to like compound them. Like, I'm anxiously depressed and feeling hopeless. I mean, because there's so many compounds to and complexity to our trauma. And when we start to kind of do that discovery process, just like any seed, it grows down before it ever grows up. And so I heard this amazing statement in some personal growth stuff I was listening to this week that just resonated with me, to remind me that, all of this trauma healing that I'm doing are my roots. Like, these are my roots growing strong in the ground, so that when I begin to continue to blossom upward, then I have strong roots to hold me in the place that I say I want to go. That's why so many times, like, with when myself and Alyssa Caitlin, at the Alyssa Caitlin, when she was on the show a couple of weeks ago, that's basically kind of what we were covering in that as well. Is that, you know manifesting stuff just feeds that I'll be happy when external focus. And when you bring it back home and you want to manifest something that's truly within your heart, like your purpose, or something that's like really true to your heart and is for your highest and best good, then you will start to experience the planting of that seed, and it begin to grow roots. And so a lot of the trouble, what we define as trouble, we go through, is that root building process. And so many people, I've been tempted to do it, and I've done it myself before many times in my life, to be honest. We don't see progress in the time that we think we should, because we're still asking for something on the surface, and our heart's not purely in it at that time. There's still another motive to it. We run and we dig up that seed, and then we get into something else and we start trying to practice that. And we plant a new seed, and then it doesn't come up at the time. That's that moment where we got to step back and really ask ourselves about that, in which we are asking, that place we're asking to go. Is it truly right for me? And from what mind and what place am I asking for this to occur, or to have, or whatever it is? So it makes a lot of sense then, that the freedom that we have in those moments is to make that choice of deciding how this is going to define me. I defined myself as a victim, and not because I didn't have it's when you say that, there's this tendency for people that are really holding on to their trauma, to get very offended. And I understand, because I was absolutely one of those people that if you touched my wounds, I got offended, and I was not consciously aware that that was happening. My trauma at that time, and my whole victim consciousness, that was what I knew, was all I knew, and it was the only identity I knew. And I did not believe there was any other alternative universe to live in all honesty. When you start being victimized as a young child, that is what becomes rooted in your being. And then, because now we've got this whole complete change of vibration, we've gone from innocent to feeling shameful. Now at that point, then there's just more. I felt like something was attached to me after the first time that I was molested. I thought something was attached to me because it seemed like every person I came in contact with after that was that way, tried to do that too. And so I thought, started thinking I was flawed. And I remember that my grandfather was the only person that never did. But I just do remember being so afraid that he would, that I never really learned to feel safe anywhere or with anybody. And that is what played over and over out in my life and my circumstances for years. So remember, I put up a post in my stories this week on Instagram that was talking about that association bias, that the mind, whatever, question we're asking, the mind automatically is drawn to things that, that give evidence of that. And so if you are living from that place, that is the question: who's going to victimize me today? And it's a subconscious question that comes from trauma, because you got to keep yourself safe. That's how we're wired, to keep ourselves safe and survive. And in so many ways, excuse me, that is played to our favor, especially when we're in the recovery process. It plays in our favor to know how to survive and that we survived, but it starts to play against us when we are trying to move somewhere else into a happier, healthier, wealthier place in our lives. And so there's just so many moments that you can do to try to heal within that, that who am I, the what am I at my core soul level, and just remembering that the experience after that really always depends upon the questions. So if you come to understand, when you look at your life, what question you're asking at a deeper level over and over, then start working with yourself to start asking a different question. And remember, a seed has to be planted, and it grows down before it ever grows up. And maybe, just maybe, you're in the root process, and nobody can see that process. We don't know what's going on. We feel stuck. We haven't seen the light of day yet. Sometimes we get glimpses, because then we still, when we start to grow up, we've got to start at different levels. And so you peek through the ground, my content creators, you peek through the ground and you start getting glimpses of the sun, and you get glimpses of what you want. And it's almost like coming attractions for where you're going. But we have a tendency to get disappointed when the light just flickers and it doesn't catch on to full blown sunlight. And we see people around us and we think, that it's that success is not, absolutely, abundance is not like infinite. Abundance is infinite. But we start feeling that fear in us, and we get frustrated with our process, because it's like, I'm working so hard. I love this so much. And yet, but what this amazing week has taught me is that if I dig it up too soon, it'll never happen. If I remind myself in faith that this is my root process, then that sounds better, it feels better, and it gives me a completely different perspective. And it helps me work my faith muscle, because believe me, faith is a muscle. And if it's not worked out, it's not very strong. It's why you can be wishy-washy, especially in new recovery. You move, wherever, because you're trying to, your emotions have been in like a hurricane status for however long, for years and years and years, and they're still trying to now drop down. So, wherever you are in the process, please give yourself some kindness, some grace, and some mercy. You're working on it. I am absolutely, I am gutted, y'all, with that "Working on It" song. And I will post up who it's by, but it's been the background of some of my Instagram stories and reels since yesterday. I am obsessed with it. Man, if you want a feel good song and you just want a song, just, just holds you up, then that's an amazing song. It's called "Working on It," and I don't know who it's by. Andy, I think I'll post it, but it's an amazing song. If you need a pick me up, I love it. It's my obsession. You all will probably get tired of it before I stop using it on reels because I love it. It's amazing, amazing, amazing. All right, so we talked about that, changing the question. Oh, there was one thing that I asked myself this week, and it was because I heard it on that video, but I think that it was, um, I don't know if she said it just like this, but this was the question I've been asking: how is my life getting better? And I didn't start doing that until the end, the more towards the end of the week. So trust me when I tell you, I've been a hot mess. Um, you know, first part of the week, but we're always a work in progress, and that's when we're getting our dirtiest. Is when we are truly purging. You know, any kind of purge. I'll just listen. Any kind of purge comes with some shit. That's just that. All right. The other let me make sure I don't skip one. Oh, the other quote that I put up is, and you can tell the process of healing. Um, Let me make sure I don't skip one. Oh, here it is. The caliber of your purpose is measured by the intensity of your pain. I added to that, timing is everything. And sometimes we feel stuck in our recovery, our rediscovery, or building a dream or a passion, and we watch others rise. And at that moment, we have the freedom and an available lesson and the freedom to work with it or resist it. And remember, that is our only true freedom. Because if you own something, it don't fully belong to you necessarily. You're paying taxes on it. If you own a house, you got an HOA that's going to tell you this is what you can and can't do. So our only real freedom, when you just sit down and let that come over you and just meditate on it, you'll find that our only true freedom is our ability to think and our abilities to always make a choice. Is this helping me? Is this harming me? And if you are a person that you feel just called to a larger purpose, and you find that, and that larger purpose equals anything that comes from your soul, your core being, that thing, that who you are, that whatever it is that's amazing to you, when it comes from your core being, that is that purpose. And when I say big purpose, that's the purpose I'm talking about. I'm not talking about somebody who's, becomes famous or anything, because that's just the paradigm of success. True success is, are you a happy, whole human being? Are you aware of your freedom? And are you utilizing it? Are you making it through your day in a healthier way where you feel better? You respond better, you just do better in your life and feel good doing it. It takes grit to get into that kind of life. The programs are reaction, 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 chaos, boom, bang, look over here, don't look over here, control, pay, there's just all this stuff to keep us distracted from who we truly are on the inside, which is a core soul being, a part of the divine. The law of oneness has been an amazing theme to this entire week. And I asked last month, in my meditation time, to really truly understand the law of oneness. And the law of oneness simply states that we are all, everything created, are part of one, divine source, whatever your name or label is for that. But we're all connected to each other and everything. And I really used that as a kind of a strategy to begin to do some healing around the things I've been going through this week, as by being able to see others as a human being having their own experience. Because when we become triggered, it becomes about self-protection. So we cannot see outside of our perceived place and stance in whatever confrontation or situation this is. That's not because we're bad, that's because we're wired that way, and it takes conscious awareness to start to find all of those hair triggers that you got. There's some big ones that we can all see, but it takes other stuff to bring out the little ones. And if you've asked for something, or you have felt like you have discovered this large calling, and you've discovered that purpose, and that you're supposed to be moving in the direction you're moving, then hang on. Put the phone down and stop comparing yourself to everyone and everything around you. All that does is generate a lack. There's not enough energy within you. And if like attracts like, then you already know the math. So put that stuff down for a while. Take a few days, man, and just put that stuff down and start thinking about all the things and the ways that you have created this you. And spend some time back in the energy of that passionate place that you want to be, that whole healthy place. Spend some time thinking about the things that make you feel good about you, the things and the places that you can find gratitude, and spend time in that energy. Because once again, you know the math. And when we start to realize that this bigger hoopla over things that really are not that serious, the bigger the distraction, the more powerful the subject matter that you're being distracted from. And I think that the biggest thing we're being distracted from is that we are all one. We are all of each other. Everything we see in creation is also part of us, and we of it. And so the louder that everything, especially in society, starts to pull your direction off over to fear, trans agenda, the LGBTQ agenda, the Black Lives Matter agenda, all the agendas, it's an amazing time to take your attention from there and put it back on the law of oneness. And remember that we are all one. What I do to another, I do to myself. What I think about another, I think about myself. What I say, how I respond to another, is how I talk and respond to myself. And when we start to work on discover within ourselves while everything's going on out here, we will find the key to true mastery, which is mastering your freedom of choice. It means knowing what you can control and what is not in your control, and knowing that you can be peaceful. You can be the calm in the midst of the storm, in all the storms in your life. Not to say you're not going to feel emotions. Emotions are our human gift. They are our gifts as human beings. They can be used like everything for good, they can be used for bad, positive, negative, evil, divine. But these are our true freedoms. And I hope that you will exercise your freedoms in this new coming up week by creating some strategies around your life, around your healing. You know, one thing that I like to learn by analogies, and they come to me often. And one of the examples that I had visit my spirit this week was my choice of experience. And it gave me this example of boiling water. You know, when water's boiling, we have a tendency to make one of two choices. And our freedom is our choice of experience. If we're watching it and we're all tight and wanting it to hurry up and hurry up and hurry up, and why aren't you boiling already? And we think those things that we say, like a watch pot never boils and this, that, and the other. Or when we're not in a hurry and we have nothing to do and we turn it on and we just move about our day, and then it's boiling. But water takes the same time to boil, whether you're having a negative experience or a positive experience. So if you're just starting to do this work, it is small, small things like that you can begin to implement in your beginning to expand into a new perspective. Gratitude, and start small, really, really small. And just say that to yourself. I have a choice in this situation. I have a choice in this situation, but only a choice that's about me. Now, please don't misunderstand me. Let me go ahead and put this other disclaimer out there. I'm not speaking about you in a dangerous situation, any kind of domestic violence situation, any type of abuse of any kind. Those situations, of course, are far different than these things. Not that they don't represent how we feel about ourselves and where we need to get back to. There's beautiful healing around that. But I'm just saying, don't stay in, you know, a dangerous situation and think that you don't need help to get out. Reach out for the proper help. Don't just walk into things by yourself. But, what I know and what I've learned in 9 years of recovery and 48 years of life is that life is always going to happen. Whether you're ready for it or not, you can externally prepare all you really want, but it will still find a way to level you. And so it's the internal preparation that allows us to grow in faith and stand in faith, because it's so true. We can put money in savings account, we can prepare for this, we can buy life insurance, we can do all those things to prepare for every type of external situation, and yet those things still come. So maybe it's not that we don't need to prepare that way, but we need to more focus on preparing within. How am I going to go through this situation? I watched that when we were experiencing Hurricane Katrina so many years ago, and my wife and I are from deep down south, so we actually went through that hurricane. And seeing a city that we loved and our very close neighbors, the people of New Orleans, Louisiana, be stranded, and so many, die. I mean, it just makes me think of that situation. There was, no matter what you prepared, that came and just leveled so much of everything for so many people. And that external didn't stop that from happening. And you had people that rose up out of that, and found their strength from that. You had people that, were never able to do that were never able to overcome the loss, and, and the displacement, and feeling separated, from their home, their family, and so, you know, that's the thing I'm trying to say. And I've really learned over these this past few weeks, and I'm still in it. Don't think I'm out of it. these are the tools I'm implementing, and they're really helping me. Just practice your freedom is all I'm saying. Give yourself an opportunity and a moment before you react, if you're able, to stop and become aware of the fact that you have the freedom to choose in that moment of how you want to go through whatever it is that's facing you. And I know, my recovery warriors, you can stand up through anything. And don't you ever forget it. Don't let the lessons that kept you alive not come with you to now building a life, because they can be just as much positive as they were negative. So, uh, I have enjoyed this. I'm so grateful to sometimes get to come on and just talk to you guys old school style, and about whatever, and I love it, and I thank you for being here. I see Lisa Goldberg, I see my friend Pamela. I love you both so much. If anyone else is here on another platform and I can't see you, thank you for joining me, and thank you for joining me for this time. Make sure that you share out to your groups and people that you think might resonate with a message like this. And if you listen to our podcast, which is on Spotify, has got our video podcast, so this podcast just like this will be on Spotify. And then but you listen to the audio version on iTunes, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and all the places that we do me a favor and give us a 5-star review, or give me the truth. In all honesty, write a review, but also give me the truth. I appreciate pure-hearted people to give me topics they would like to cover, and stuff. So go make sure you follow and get stay connected with Recovery Soul Food on all of those other platforms as well. Thank you for liking and subscribing to the YouTube channel. That is really my passion to grow this year, and you all are truly helping me do that. And since you stuck around to the end of the video, I want to make sure that I leave you with an amazing gift. You can get a free full session of hypnotherapy from our good friend Pamela Topchian by going to www.hypnobreakthrough.com. All you got to do is mention Recovery Soul Food and LC, and you can get the amazing gift that this truly is, because you get a consultation, and you get a consultation session, which is 15 minutes, and then you still get another free full session of hypnotherapy. And hypnotherapy is not the stuff that we see in movies or on TV. It's not a magic show. It is a conversation with your subconscious mind. It's the ability to put the conscious mind into a relaxed state where you can actually heal the at the subconscious level, which is what is running 90% of our lives anyway, and our experience. So take Pamela up on that. It's an amazing gift. It's beautiful of her to give her time and talents to this Recovery Soul Food community. Y'all make sure that you go and pick up her book. I didn't come this far to only come this far on Amazon. Uh, well, I got to hold it up so you can see it. Don't forget as well to download your Sober app by going to the Apple App Store or Google Play Store and get involved in that. Remember, for under 20 bucks this weekend, you can really change your life. And that's by getting your Sober app, getting I Didn't Come This Far, It's Only Come This Far, and a free hypnotherapy session. Listen, I don't know what else. I don't know what else. Well, one thing you can do for me is you can follow Recovery Soul Food on TikTok. They're on Instagram, recovery_soul food. Man, join me next weekend, because my good friend, she's a humorist, a speaker, a teacher, a leader, and so many things. She is the author of You Can Be Perfect or You Can Be Happy. She is a comedian, and she has now completely I don't even know, invented the conversation that we're having about diversity and inclusion, called Inversity. So if you all want to be truly blessed, and you really want to have a good time, then show up next right here next Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time when my good friend Kareth Foster joins me, Reverend LC, right here on Recovery Soul Food. Y'all, until then, have the most amazing week and know that I love you so much and I appreciate your support with all that I am. I am a blessed human being and I appreciate y'all. Until next time, bye.